What's going on, sports card hobby family?
But unfortunately,
it is another day, and you know what that means. It's another sports card video. We are back again. Today we're going to talk about Geoff Wilson and CardsHQ. It is the moment of truth. The store opens in about a week. Woo! I will be there in a couple of days for Culture Collision. Of course, the trade night that's going to be there Saturday night. So we're going to get a full view of this thing as it unfolds. Big thanks to today's video sponsor, Whatnot. Maybe you can't get out to a show. Maybe you don't want to go to the LCS. It's freezing outside. All you have to do is open up the Whatnot app and you have access to millions of different card singles, as well as other collectibles. They've got comic books. They've got all sorts of different things on the Whatnot app. So definitely check it out. I've got links in the video description as well as in the pinned comments. All right, it's no secret that the biggest news in the sports card hobby right now is the biggest YouTuber with the most subscribers, Sports Card Investor channel,
Sports Card Entrepreneur,
also happens to be opening the largest card shop, when we're looking at square footage, in the entire United States. It's a pretty big deal, and it's going to happen here over the next week. We had Geoff Wilson on Off-Centered this past week to talk through all the stuff. He was with us for about an hour, and the one thing that got a lot of attention was the pricing structure of how they're going to price singles in the store. One thing I thought was interesting that he said is that the majority of cards, the vast majority of cards in the store are going to be $500 and below. That's really where the sweet spot is going to live for this store. And when you think about the amount of cards that they're going to have in this store, especially when he said that they want to turn over every 30 days or so, I mean, it is going to be an absolute truckload of cards, all different types. I think he said 14 football fields of showcases that are going to be in this store. It's going to be massive inventory. Now, a question that I had and that the chat had is that what about haggling? You know, how are you going to handle this with your employees, with people? If you have just a ton of people in the store and they're like, oh, you know what, $80 card, I'll give you 60, I'll give you 50. Well, instead of doing that, and actually, I do think that this is the smart way to go about it. If you think about it logistically, if you had employees and you were running the store, can you imagine how difficult it would be to negotiate down every single person like me or like you that's in there trying to, hey, if I buy these three, can I get this one at a discount? Think about the logistical nightmare that would be for employees in a store. I mean, it would be unbelievably hard. And so Geoff said that they're going to go kind of counter market in this way, unlike other card shops, and they're going to have fixed pricing that is non-negotiable, but with the idea that, hey, they're going to price aggressively, they're going to price fairly to where you don't really need to haggle. This is the price. And of course, you know, there's question marks around, well, pricing changes in cards and this and that. But if we're being honest, I mean, pricing changes for certain players that are hot in the playoffs, that are, you know, leading up to a season. There's hype, you know, things that are going on. But if we're talking about, you know, 87 Fleer Michael Jordan card, you know, I mean, if we're being really honest, there's not a ton of movement on this card over a 30 to 45 day period. There just isn't. And so outside of new releases where you've got, you know, 2023 Prism football and people are opening it, sure, you can have some price movement, some volatility on some of these rookies and that sort of thing. So I understand the thought there. But again, think about the number of cards that are going to be in this store. Not all of them are going to be 2023 Prism. Yeah, you're going to have the Bryce Youngs, you're going to have some CJ Strouds, of course. But there's going to be also just a ton of just 2000s cards. There's going to be a ton of all sorts of different things where the price movements, sure, move a little bit, but not a crazy amount. And Geoff did say, hey, look, if it doesn't sell, then they move it to Whatnot, they sell it on eBay. From what I've seen on Whatnot, sellers that have that lower range, if they've got cards that are $20 to $100, I'll just use kind of that framework, they sell really well on those live auctions. I've watched those live auctions where it's like, and here we have this card, blah, 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 talk about it for a second, good, congrats to the winner. And now we have this card, but I mean, it's just like a conveyor belt. Those cards sell really well. So the thought that, you know, oh, if they don't sell it in the store, what, it's just going to sit and sit? I'm pretty confident that they're going to have some success moving cards through either Whatnot or another live streaming service. And even if they just have to auction it off on eBay, life goes on. Now, when I think about activity in the store, attendance, I keep on thinking back to the National. The SCI booth was set up as a kids trade zone at the National if you weren't there. If you were there, it was somewhat of a spectacle, to be honest. I mean, just the amount of people that were packed in, parents with their kids coming in, trading, all the stuff. Geoff's son also has the Kids Card channel as well, the YouTube channel. And I think it's got, I don't know, it's got over 10,000 subscribers. I don't think we should underestimate, and I know a lot of people will kind of balk at, getting that next generation, the young people and this and that. There was parents that flew their kids in, teenagers in, for the National to come to this type of event. And it was absolutely jam-packed. The SCI booth, if we look at the corporate section of the National, was one of the busier booths at the entire show. And that's saying something, because it was a massive show with a ton of cool corporate booths. And that SCI Kid Zone, Trade Zone, was absolutely jam-packed. Moms, dads sitting there for hours while they were, trading cards. And like I said, they flew them in there to do this. For me personally, I don't think we should underestimate the location literally directly across the street from the Atlanta Braves Stadium. Geoff mentioned that they're going to have an Atlanta Braves player via Topps that will be in the store kind of for the grand opening or in February at some point. There is going to be a lot of synergy, collaboration, in my opinion, between Topps, the Atlanta Braves, and I assume Geoff will set up relationships, if he hasn't already, with the Atlanta Braves to be able to have players in store or to have signings or to have, some sort of a setup, a pop-up that's right around the Braves Stadium. There's a ton of traffic. There's a huge section outside of the stadium. It's got a bunch of different restaurants and bars and different things. A lot of traffic flowing through around the stadium. And I think he's going to take advantage of the proximity to the stadium. There's going to be opportunities for multiple revenue sources. And if you look at kind of Geoff's deal, look, between market movers, between other businesses he's invested in, he currently now, even without a store, has a variety of different multiple income streams, affiliates, sponsors, content, etc. And so now he's got a massive store, 14,000 square feet. I think the one thing that's going to be interesting is to see how this store adapts over time. Right now it's set up as you've got Pokemon in the front, and then you've got sports cards in the back, party in the front, business in the back, or maybe it's the other way around. I don't know. But that's structured in a way because that Pokemon cards are so red hot with young people, as well as 30-somethings, 20 and 30-somethings also big into Pokemon cards. But will that change? I know he boldly made a prediction that Disney Lorcana would overtake Pokemon at some point, and I know he's going to have Magic the Gathering and Lorcana and all the other kind of non-sports or the trading game type stuff in the front of the store. Will that change? Will sports cards become the dominant revenue generator? And that's the thing I think is going to be interesting, is to watch how that store is going to shift around over time. And maybe it doesn't, but I would have to assume, just like with any other kind of hobby store, there's going to be changes depending on what's popular and where is the revenue coming from. What's popular from customers? And in 5 years, what if Pokemon isn't as hot as it is anymore? Maybe it changes. Maybe it's something else, or maybe they just shift the store around. Maybe Pokemon is a smaller part, or maybe Pokemon's even more popular. Maybe it's 10 times the revenue of sports cards, and they've got gigantic tournaments and stuff that are being held in there. Who knows? And so the moment of truth is here.
You take the card and put it in the sleeve.
The store will open. Of course, it's going to take some time for this whole thing to get sorted out as far as the vision goes. The vision is not going to be day one. The vision is going to take time, and I'm excited to see how it does go. I will get some footage here over the weekend. I'm meeting directly with Geoff on Friday, and then we will be there on Saturday night for the trade night, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people putting out content around that time as well, of the store as well as the Culture Collision card show. It's going to be a good time, so stay tuned into YouTube for all the action. We will be back. Stay healthy, stay awesome, and I will talk to you again later.